All right, in this video, I'm going to take you on a tour of the first 4 dams on the Tennessee River. And I'm going to start with dam number 4. I am here at Nickajack Dam. This is basically the 4th dam on the Tennessee River. And I tell you what, this has been a very, very interesting dam for me. The last time I came here, I caught like a 40-pound blue, a 30-pound blue, and a 25-pound blue, bam, 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 that quick, right below the dam, like, you know, just like right over there. And this was after hunting for like, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours looking for the fish. I didn't even try up here at the dam, and that's where the big fish were. They were at the dam. They weren't downstream. Now, in the past, I had some really good times here as well. My Drum Mania video, which I will link an iCard above to, was done at this dam. We were hoping to catch flathead catfish. However, they weren't here yet, but the drum were thick, and so were the thread fins. We could literally take a little dip net and just dip net thread fins up, hook them, throw them back in the water, catch drum. That easy. I even tried bumping with large pieces of skipjack, and we were catching drum while bumping for catfish. Also, one of my first registered trophy flathead catfish was caught downriver from here. Now for some quick history, this dam was built to replace Hales Bar Dam. Hales Bar Dam is about 6 miles upriver, and it had a lot of problems, so they ended up building Nickajack, and then they demolished that dam. There are still remnants of that dam in the water. I haven't fished those remnants yet, but I have heard that sometimes they can hold some big catfish, so good catfishing spot. This is basically what Catfish Dave has nicknamed the Magic Kingdom. The further south you get, the bigger the fish get. And I would definitely take someone down here on a guided trip if they wanted to do a trophy guided trip someday down here below Nickajack. Now let me drive a little bit upriver to the next dam. Here is the other dam. All right, dam number 3 on the Tennessee River is the Chickamauga Dam, or Chickamauga Dam, or the Calabunga Dam. I really don't know how to pronounce it correctly. I do have a lot of cool memories and cool videos from this dam. In fact, my 64-pound blue catfish was caught below this dam. That was actually an incredible day of fishing with Joe of Chat Cats Fishing. First, we were catching football-sized smallmouth, and then we switched to catfishing, and it was the first time he had ever boated 2 50-pound or greater blue cats in one day. And one of them was my personal best 64-pound blue. I will do an iCard to that video above, starting with the smallmouth trip. And that is just a fraction of the good fishing I've had here with Joe, or even in my own boat. Now, like Nickajack, I don't know if you can see it down there, but there is a pier you can fish off. I didn't actually mention that there's a pier to fish off at Nickajack, but you can bank fish there, and you can bank fish here. And I've heard of some monsters that have been caught here before. Giant bluegill, catfish, everything. And you can get down on the sidewalk and literally walk almost right up to the side of the dam here to fish. And I've seen you can take like a spoon and drop it straight down and catch drum all day like that. Now, if you noticed, maybe I will move the camera a little bit here. They are working on the lock. They are building a new lock on this dam. So, you know, I don't know why, actually. Honestly, I don't know why, but they are building a new lock. And that's not the only interesting thing that I've heard about this dam. I've heard of people talking about catching muskies here before. And if I remember correctly, I don't think Joe has heard this, but I have, about the muskies like being here, which is You know, this is pretty far south for muskies to be. However, TWRA said like they used to be in the creek that's on the other side of the log. It makes me want to come down here to try to fish for muskies someday to see if I can actually catch one. Now, when it comes to like striped bass, both of these dams that I just showed you don't really have big striped bass, and I don't understand why, unless people are just not fishing the proper way for the bigger stripers. I don't know. All the striped bass that I've ever seen caught down here, you know, they're schoolies. They're the smaller ones. All the big stripers seem to be upstream, which is where I'm going to be heading next. Now, I will tell you this. I actually got a late start to do this video, and I'm losing light fast. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do the next dam today, but I will go to it and complete this video another time, probably a week from now. So don't be surprised if I'm wearing something different. On that note, let's fast forward to the future and go to the next dam upriver. Now, this is Watts Bar Dam and Watts Bar Nuclear Plant. Now, welcome to day 2 of me filming this video. Now, Watts Bar Dam is one of the dams where I like to take people for trophy trips. My trophy fishing trips that I offer on my guide service. And that's because this dam I'm more familiar with than the dams further downstream that I just showed you. This is pretty much the furthest north on the Tennessee River where you're almost guaranteed to catch a trophy catfish. In fact, the last time I did a trophy trip here, we boated 3 trophy catfish. My guest ended up getting 3 trophy certificates from 3 trophy-sized catfish that we caught at this dam. A lot of the bigger catfish, especially in the springtime, a little bit in the summer, and in the fall, will gather up, you know, around this dam. In fact, I got a story to tell you about a big catfish that was lost. And I'm going to keep it vague so I don't identify who did what. There was one fisherman in a boat that had a 100-pound class blue cat on his line, and he was fighting it, and another boat of someone that he knew came over to try to help land that fish. They got their big net out, they tried to net the fish, and ended up popping the hook out of the fish. So they ended up losing it. And there is a lot more to that story than what I'm saying, but I'm just going to leave it at that. It just goes to show there was 100-pound class fish at this dam. Now, I will say that there are big striped bass here as well. This is one of the first dams upriver, or at least it's the second dam downriver that has big striped bass in it. And you can catch them here if you are using the right baits and you have the right techniques. I've seen some really big ones caught here. I put a client on a 40-pound striper here one time. So the big striped bass, they're here. Now, another thing this river is known for downstream is walleye. You can catch walleye here as well. It's kind of difficult because you got to have a kicker motor. Whenever they're running the dam, even right now, I mean, they're not running it too hard right now, but the water is so strong, my trolling motor on my boat cannot keep up. You need to have a kicker motor to be able to troll properly for walleye here. There are guides that do walleye specific, and Scenic City, this is pretty much their most northern place that they will go to fish. So if you want a good walleye guide, check out Scenic City. They are based in Chattanooga, but they have a walleye guide that comes up here and fishes. I actually don't mind trying for walleye either. I don't have the proper setup for that to at least tackle this faster water. Now let's go upriver more to the first dam on the Tennessee River. Here is the first dam on the Tennessee River. This is Fort Loudon Dam. Now, I will say this dam is not really known for big catfish anymore. The last time that I saw a big catfish caught was an old timer showing me a picture of a 100-pounder that he caught on the concrete structure down there, who knows how many years ago, like 20, 30 years ago. Most of the catfish here are either small blues or small flatheads or small channel catfish, at least from what I've seen and what I've caught myself. Now, I will say that skipjacks and white bass will get in here pretty thick from time to time. They're not here all the time, but that's mostly, what this dam is known for now. And like I said with the previous dam, there are some big stripers that get in here from time to time as well. That's pretty much the only big fish outside of like paddlefish, which is another kind of a small problem. Whenever paddlefish season hits, which is, I think, end of April, beginning of May, it's a 2 to 3 week period where you're allowed to keep like one paddlefish. And there are hundreds of people here trying to snag paddlefish during paddlefish season. It's really, really bad. You really don't want to be on a boat during paddlefish season at this dam. Now, I have personally caught walleye and I've caught perch and other fish here, but like I said, it's mainly known for white bass and skipjacks because I don't know where all the big fish went. Now, there has been a couple of updates to this dam. First, they added motors on every single gate. So no longer do they need a trolley to go across to pull up the spill gates. Each spill gate can be independently operated now with like a push of a button. The second thing that they did to this dam, they moved the road from on top of the dam to an actual bridge. Now, I know I mentioned in a previous podcast that there's a possibility that the road was compromising the dam itself, and they were worried about that, and that's one of the reasons why they built, this bridge. I don't know if that's true, and from my understanding, it was, internal knowledge that wasn't supposed to get out to the public. So treat what I said as a grain of salt. I just heard it from other people. I will say this, the water right now is really low, and we're going into April now. They really need to raise the water up because April is a good time to fish. And, raising the water actually helps make the fishing good as well. At least from what I've seen and from what I've heard. But yeah, this is Fort Loudon Dam, the first dam on the Tennessee River. Now, there are dams upriver from here, but they are on the French Broad River and the Holston River. And the French Broad and Holston come together in Knoxville to create the Tennessee River. If you want me to talk about those dams sometime in the future, hit that thumbs up to show that you like this video and leave a comment. Now, I'm going to give you a bonus dam. This is Tellico Dam. Now, Tellico Dam is mostly an earthen dam. They don't generate any electricity here. And as you can see, there's 3 spill gates, and that's all it is. This is the majority of the concrete right here, and then the rest is pretty much just, like I said, an earthen dam. Now, what makes this special is there is a canal that connects Fort Loudon Lake to Tellico Lake. And they control the lake levels of Tellico with Fort Loudon Dam. Now, back when we had all that water going through here from the hurricane, they were spilling this. And I think it's the first time that they spilled this in like 20 to 50 years or something. Very long time. They rarely open these spill gates. Now, the river that this is impounding right here is the Little Tennessee River. And it goes back all the way to the mountains. That is the reason why Tellico Lake is one of the more clean lakes here in my area. Most of the smaller catfish and other fish can be eaten out of Tellico Lake. Now, anything bigger, like the bigger catfish, I wouldn't even touch because it may have swam from Fort Loudon through the canal into Tellico. So I wouldn't eat anything big ever. And the reason being is they pulled the transformers out of the water in upper Tellico that were poisoning the lake. And all the industry is new under the newer regulations, and mostly it's homes. So Tellico doesn't have anything polluting it from industry that much. And, you could get some pollution from the homes, but it is a big lake. And the homes are multi-million-dollar homes. Now, below the dam here, I have heard of big catfish being caught here before. In fact, to my knowledge, more big catfish have been caught out of this little area here than below the dam. Maybe the catfish are getting smarter. Maybe it's too shallow up there by the dam. There could be 100 different reasons. But there you have it. There's the first 4 dams on the Tennessee River, including a bonus dam. If you have any questions of what I've shown you, leave a comment below and I will do my best to answer it. Now, as always, I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to actually watch this video. I really, really appreciate it. Now that it's starting to rain, I got to be real quick to close this video because this new camera of mine is not waterproof. Definitely let me know if you think this was a good quality image on this new camera. And I will definitely do more videos like this in the future, and I will be doing more fishing videos, and I might try to use this as a studio / unboxing camera. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you next time.